She doesn't ruin your life with a knife, she does it with a tear. Have you ever loved someone so deeply that you forgot who you were? The scariest kind of toxic partner isn't the one who hurts you openly. It's the one who makes you feel guilty for bleeding. That's the nightmare of toxic love. It never shows its teeth in the beginning. At first, they seem perfect, attentive, charming, the kind of partner everyone else wishes they had. Friends say you're lucky. Family loves them. You believe you finally found the one. But behind closed doors, the story shifts. You start apologizing for things you never did. You feel guilty just for wanting space. You catch yourself replaying every conversation, asking, "Am I the crazy one?" That's how covert manipulation works. It doesn't break you with obvious cruelty. It erases you slowly. A little doubt here, a little guilt there, until the confident, vibrant version of you is replaced with someone smaller, weaker, and trapped. And here's the cruel twist. It's not always intentional. Some partners carry wounds they never healed, and instead of facing them, they make you the container. Their chaos becomes your burden. Their pain becomes your prison. This video is your warning sign. We're about to uncover the 10 types of dangerous partners that can drain your spirit without you even noticing. Each one has a pattern. Each one has a cost. And if you don't spot them early, you'll pay with years of your life. Stay until the end, because knowing these patterns might be the only thing standing between you and the relationship that quietly destroys you. So why do people who seem intelligent, confident, and self-aware end up stuck in toxic relationships that slowly eat them alive? It's not because they're weak, and it's not because they secretly wanted it. The truth is far more unsettling. Our brains are wired in ways that make subtle manipulation almost invisible until it's too late. It usually starts with what psychologists call the rescuer instinct. Most of us want to be good partners. We want to help, protect, and heal. When someone shows us their pain, when they share a story of betrayal or trauma, it awakens something inside. You start thinking, maybe I can be the one who finally treats them right. At first it feels noble, even romantic. But here's the trap. The more you try to save them, the more you sacrifice yourself. They don't have to heal because you're doing all the heavy lifting. And slowly, your role shifts from partner to caretaker until love feels more like a job description you never applied for. Then comes the second layer, the trauma bond. This is the cycle of hurt and relief that tricks your brain into staying. They create conflict, push you to the edge, and then swoop in with affection or apologies. The contrast between chaos and calm releases powerful chemicals in your brain. The lows make the highs feel intoxicating. Before you realize it, you're addicted to the roller coaster. You're not staying because you're happy. You're staying because your nervous system is hooked on the cycle of pain and reward. And finally, there's the mirror effect. Human emotions are contagious. Spend enough time with someone who lives in constant drama, and their storm becomes your weather. Their anxiety seeps into your bloodstream. Their anger becomes your reflex. You begin carrying feelings that don't belong to you, mistaking their chaos for your own reality. These three forces, rescuer instinct, trauma bonds, and emotional mirroring, are why dangerous relationships are so effective at trapping good people. It's not just about what they do. It's about how your mind responds, how your heart gets tricked into calling dysfunction love. And once you're inside that web, leaving feels impossible unless you can see the patterns clearly for what they are. This partner lives in a world where they're always the one being wronged. Every ex was toxic. Every boss was unfair. Every friend betrayed them. At first, you feel compassion. You think, they just need someone loyal who won't hurt them. Months later, you realize nothing changes. They collect sympathy the way others collect money. A man once told me about a woman who blamed every failed relationship on cruel exes, but when he finally left, he became the villain in her story too. The danger here is that you're never their partner. You're their caretaker, their therapist, their audience. Over time, you start carrying guilt that doesn't belong to you. You become the problem solver for problems they never intend to fix. If you notice a pattern where they're always the victim and never accountable, understand this. You're next on their list of villains. Then comes the kind who is hungry for energy, not love. They lean on you constantly, your time, your money, your emotional strength, but give little back. You think your devotion will heal them, but what actually happens is you get weaker while they stay the same. I heard about a guy whose partner called him dozens of times a day, crying, panicking, needing reassurance. He gave everything, but she never got better, because getting better meant losing her grip on him. The long-term cost is burnout. You lose your spark, your motivation, your joy. Life turns into survival, not living. If you see someone draining your energy but never refueling it, remember, love should recharge you, not empty you. There's also the partner with a perfect public face and a private iron fist. In public, they are charming, thoughtful, admired. Everyone tells you how lucky you are. Behind closed doors, they turn critical, controlling, manipulative. This split is devastating because no one else sees it. One man said his partner was adored by his family, but privately she belittled him, mocked his career, and set strict rules for how he should act. Whenever he spoke up, she'd say, "No one else thinks I'm like this. You must be exaggerating." The mask isolates you. You doubt yourself because everyone else sees a saint while you live with a tyrant. Over time, you lose the ability to trust your own reality. If you are the only one who sees the dark side, trust yourself. Your reality matters, even if no one else believes it. Some partners make peace impossible. They thrive on drama, so when life is calm, they create storms. A guy once shared how his girlfriend picked fights right before his big presentations, causing him to show up drained and distracted. When he asked why, she said, "I just needed attention." Chaos feels exciting at first. It tricks you into thinking intensity equals passion. But living in constant emergencies wears you down. Your nervous system never rests. You lose the ability to tell the difference between love and stress. If you find yourself addicted to the drama, remind yourself, chaos is not intimacy. It's sabotage disguised as love. Another pattern looks like closeness, but functions as control. This partner believes love equals unlimited access. They read your messages without asking, show up unannounced, make decisions for you, and insist it's because they care. At first, you mistake it for connection. Soon, your privacy disappears. A man once described how his partner demanded every password, and when he resisted, she accused him of hiding things. Over time, he stopped having a life outside the relationship. Friends drifted away. He abandoned hobbies. Everything revolved around her demands. The long-term result is you forget who you are. Healthy love respects boundaries. If someone calls invasion love, it isn't love, it's control. There's a more disorienting move, too. The slow erasure of your memory. Gaslighting makes you doubt what you know. You remember what they said, but they swear it never happened. You point out their actions, and they insist you're imagining things. Slowly, you lose faith in your mind. One man told me his partner denied ever promising to attend his graduation, even though he remembered the conversation word for word. She convinced him he was forgetful until he doubted himself. The danger of gaslighting is that once you stop trusting yourself, you depend on them to define reality. That's psychological imprisonment. If you feel more confused after every conversation, That's not miscommunication. It's manipulation. Fear can be a weapon, and some partners wield it expertly. They threaten to leave if you don't obey. They hint at hurting themselves if you pull away. Sometimes they don't need words. They create so much chaos that compliance feels safer than resistance. A man shared that his partner regularly packed her bags during fights, making him beg her to stay. He lived in constant fear of abandonment. The cost is enormous. Your life becomes about preventing explosions. Your needs vanish. Survival mode takes over. If love feels like a hostage situation, understand this. You're not in a relationship. You're in captivity. Another form of control steals something deeper than money. It steals you. Bit by bit, your interests, friendships, and personality get erased. One man watched his girlfriend criticize every hobby he loved: music, sports, even reading. To keep peace, he gave them up. Years later, he looked in the mirror and didn't recognize himself. The tragedy of identity theft in relationships is that you don't notice it happening. Each compromise feels small. Over time, you realize you're no longer living your life. You're living theirs. Real love doesn't erase you. It amplifies you. If you feel smaller every day, that's not love. That's control. Control also shows up when your growth becomes a threat. When you try to heal, therapy, self-improvement, building confidence, they find ways to sabotage it. They stir crises right before your sessions. They mock your efforts or call you selfish. One man said his partner picked fights before every therapy appointment, so he arrived too drained to benefit. The reason is simple. Your growth threatens their power. If you become stronger, healthier, more independent, you might leave. So they keep you broken. The tragedy is that the person claiming to love you is fighting hardest to keep you stuck. If your progress always seems to trigger sabotage, take it seriously. It's not an accident, and sometimes the trap is both practical and public. They entangle your finances with shared accounts, joint debts, and lifestyles you can't maintain without them. At the same time, they curate an image online, a picture-perfect romance with smiling photos and romantic captions, so no one sees the truth. Behind the screen, you're miserable. One man admitted he stayed years longer than he wanted to because he couldn't afford to leave, and he feared no one would believe his side of the story. That's the power of financial and social manipulation. It chains you in reality and in perception. If you feel trapped by money or reputation, you're already paying too high a price. The danger with toxic relationships is that the first signs rarely look like danger at all. They often feel flattering, romantic, even exciting. That's why so many people get pulled in before they realize what's happening. But if you know what to watch for, you can spot the cracks before the whole thing collapses. The first red flag is speed. Healthy love grows like a tree. It takes time, patience, and steady roots. Toxic love burns like gasoline. From the very beginning, they push for closeness faster than feels natural. Maybe it's long late-night talks where they spill their life story in the first week. Maybe it's constant texting, wanting every free moment together. Or maybe it's pressure to move in, merge finances, or talk marriage when you barely know each other. One man told me how his partner begged him to move across the country with her after only 3 months. At the time, he thought it was passion. Later, he realized it was control disguised as love. When intimacy accelerates unnaturally fast, it's not romance, it's urgency to secure you before you can see clearly. The second red flag is isolation. This one starts quietly. They never say, "Stop seeing your friends." Instead, they sigh when you go out. They act hurt when you talk about your family. They create tension every time you invest in someone other than them. A man once described how his girlfriend would pick fights right before his weekly basketball games. Eventually, he stopped going, just to avoid the drama. One by one, his friendships faded. By the time he realized, his entire support system was gone, and leaving the relationship felt impossible. Isolation doesn't happen overnight. It happens through 1,000 little cuts until you're standing alone. The third sign is emotional intensity that doesn't match reality. Healthy people have ups and downs, but their reactions usually make sense. Toxic partners overreact or underreact in ways that feel confusing. They explode over a late reply. They collapse into tears over a minor disagreement, or they stay cold and detached during moments that call for empathy. These mismatches are not quirks. They're signals of deep instability. A man once said his partner screamed at him for forgetting to buy milk, then barely reacted when he told her his grandmother passed away. Living with emotional chaos warps your sense of normal until you stop trusting your own feelings. And the fourth red flag is how you feel after being with them. With the right person, you feel energized, supported, safe. With the wrong one, you feel drained. You leave their presence more anxious, more insecure, less yourself. You catch yourself changing your words, your choices, even your personality just to keep peace. One man told me, "I didn't even recognize myself in the mirror anymore. I was just trying not to upset her." That constant exhaustion is not love. It's your soul warning you that something is wrong. The tragedy is that all of these signs can be dismissed in the moment. You tell yourself the speed is passion, the isolation is devotion, the chaos is just stress, the exhaustion is temporary, but it's not. These are the foundations of manipulation, and if you ignore them, the cost only grows with time. So if you start noticing these patterns, what can you actually do? How do you protect yourself when love feels like it's turning into a slow poison? The answer isn't simple, but it is clear. You need tools, not just hope. The first tool is boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls to shut people out. They're doors that define what comes in and what doesn't. That means saying no without guilt. That means protecting your time, your privacy, your body, your choices. Toxic partners will call boundaries selfish. They'll twist it into rejection. But the truth is, boundaries are the only way to keep your identity intact. One man told me he used the gray rock method. When his partner tried to provoke him, he responded calmly, with no energy. Over time, she stopped getting the reactions she craved. Boundaries aren't about controlling them. They're about controlling yourself and refusing to be consumed. The second tool is reality checking. Manipulative partners thrive when they distort your memory and your perception. The antidote is keeping records. Write things down. Journal conversations. Save messages if you need to. And, most importantly, talk to people you trust. A toxic partner will isolate you, so you must rebuild outside anchors. One man said the turning point came when he told a close friend about the constant accusations. His friend looked him in the eye and said, "That's not you. That's projection." That moment gave him clarity he couldn't find alone. Reality checking keeps you grounded when someone else is trying to rewrite your world. The third tool is breaking the trauma bond. This is the cycle of hurt and relief that keeps you addicted. To break it, you must stop feeding the cycle. Don't mistake an apology for change. Don't let brief kindness erase months of cruelty. The most powerful method is no contact. Cutting off communication long enough for your nervous system to detox. 30 days of silence can feel impossible, but it resets your brain. If no contact isn't an option, go low contact. Short responses. No emotional fuel. No rescuing them from their own crises. One man described it like quitting an addiction. The first weeks are brutal, but then the cravings fade and freedom returns. And the golden rule is this: if you are the only one doing the work, the relationship is already over. Love is not a one-man rehab program. If they refuse therapy, refuse accountability, refuse to change, your sacrifice won't save them. It will only destroy you. Walking away is not weakness, it's strength. It's choosing life over slow death. The path out of toxic love isn't easy, but it's possible. Boundaries protect you. Reality checks ground you. Breaking trauma bonds frees you. And remembering the golden rule saves you from years of wasted time. You can't heal someone who doesn't want to heal, but you can save yourself, and that's the most powerful act of love you'll ever make. Here's what I need you to remember. Not every relationship is toxic. Not every partner is out to control, drain, or erase you. For every story of manipulation, there are stories of healing, of love, that actually makes life bigger instead of smaller. And if you've only known toxic love, it can be hard to believe that. But it exists. Healthy love isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. A healthy partner doesn't flood you with promises in the first week. They build trust slowly, over time, because they know trust that grows slow lasts longer. One man told me how his wife didn't push for commitment in the beginning. Instead, she gave him space to breathe, space to figure out what he wanted. That patience made the bond real. Healthy love respects boundaries. You don't have to beg for privacy. You don't have to defend your need for time alone. Your no is respected as much as your yes. Another man said his partner encouraged him to spend time with friends, to travel alone, to have hobbies that didn't involve her. Instead of seeing his independence as a threat, she saw it as proof that the relationship was strong. Healthy love also communicates with honesty. Disagreements don't turn into screaming matches or silent treatments. They turn into conversations. Not always perfect conversations, but real ones. You walk away feeling heard, not erased. Healthy love fuels growth. You don't feel smaller in their presence. You feel expanded. You laugh more. You dream bigger. You see possibilities you never saw before. One man said his partner pushed him to finally start the business he'd been scared to try. Not by shaming him, but by believing in him when he didn't believe in himself. And healthy love makes you feel safe. Not just safe from harm, but safe to be fully yourself. Safe to be silly. Safe to be serious. Safe to be vulnerable. When you're with the right person, you don't walk on eggshells. You walk with confidence because you know they're not waiting to tear you down. So don't let toxic love convince you that real love doesn't exist. It does. And when you find it, you'll know, because it won't ask you to shrink. It will invite you to shine. The right partner won't trap you. They'll walk beside you. The right partner won't drain you. They'll recharge you. And the right partner won't erase who you are. They'll celebrate you exactly as you are, while helping you become even more. If you've seen yourself in any of these stories, I want you to know something important. You're not broken. You're not foolish. You're not alone. The smartest, strongest, kindest people in the world have been pulled into toxic love because manipulation isn't about intelligence, it's about the heart. And every heart wants connection. So let's make this a conversation. Have you ever dated someone who matched one of these 10 types? Maybe the victim, maybe the gaslighter, maybe the chaos generator. Share your story in the comments. Not just for me, but for everyone else who needs to know they're not crazy, not weak, not the only one. Sometimes the most healing words are just, "That happened to me too." Your comment might be the light that guides someone else out of their darkness. And if this video spoke to you, don't let it be the last. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell. Because here, we're not just exposing toxic patterns, We're building a community where love means growth, safety, and freedom. Every week, we break down the psychology of relationships, the science of healing, and the habits that make love last. If you've been surviving on chaos, it's time to learn what real intimacy feels like. Share this video with a friend who might need it. Maybe they're in the middle of a relationship that doesn't feel right. Maybe they can't explain why they're so exhausted all the time. Maybe they just need to hear these words today. You could be the reason they wake up to the truth. Because the truth is this: dangerous love doesn't usually end with bruises. It ends with someone slowly disappearing. And that's why awareness matters. The moment you see the pattern, you take back your power. So don't forget this. Real love will never demand you erase yourself. Real love will never hold you hostage. Real love will never drain you until you're empty. Real love will expand you, free you, and fuel you to become more than you ever thought possible. Stay strong, stay awake, and never settle for a love that makes you smaller.